today. So we wanted to know, let's say the villains have won. We are in the worst timeline where the villains were successful. What anime or video game universe would you rather live in where you know that the villain prevailed? I'll kick it to Visions to start, honestly, because he has some interesting thoughts and opinions.
Okay. Okay. This is going to sound wild, out of pocket, if you will. However, the person that I had in mind was Yoshikage Kira. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying he's justified. I'm not saying that what he's doing is necessarily okay. I'm just saying that if we were to live in the world or the life of what he was doing, he ended up at the end of spoiler alert, by the way. He ended up with a female that he did not kill. He ended up with a kid. He ended up with a pet. He ended up with no other people dying. And life was lived. As long as you didn't try figuring out who he was, you're chilling.
Rebuttal. I would not like to live in a world where Yoshikage Kira wins, because even though he was living, think about it this way: if you're in a world where Yoshikage Kira wins, he wouldn't have to live that false life anymore. In my opinion, he was only living with her and Hayato and the pet. Well, the pet was his weapon, but he was only living with them so that he can be incognito, because there were folks that could whip his behind if they spotted him. So he was like trying to figure out ways where he can continue to have his little hand fetish while not getting jumped. And so he had to be strategic about it. But if he's in a world where he wins, where let's say all of the Diamond is Unbreakable folks is gone, he's just going to be wilding. Wow. He's going to get out of control.
All the hands.
I agree. Yeah, because I'm assuming in this world, everyone magically either loses their powers or dies. So he's now unchecked. So why would he need to have his secret family? Because, yeah, to T's point, he was just trying to figure out a new way to move. It wasn't like he was like, I've given up on my hand-cutting fetish and I've turned over a new leaf. Yeah.
And then he's going to get to a point. He's going to get to a point where he realizes a hand is just a hand. It don't matter what gender the hand's coming from. What you going to do then?
Well, or alternatively, he'll realize all this and he'll be like, dang, I won, but at what cost? And he might find someone to talk to get the whole hand thing situated. You don't know.
Yeah, he's going to move to feet.
You think he go? Ooh.
So you're saying if he wins, he might go to therapy?
Yes. If he wins, he might go to therapy.
Once he's cut off all the hands in his radius, he might cut.
Yo, if we can have Kira goes to therapy, then I think I'll be willing to live in that world. If we can get him to commit to getting help after we wrap all this up.
Well, I hope his therapist isn't a woman. She gonna end up without hands.
Have to be Cobra. His therapist would have to be Cobra.
Cobra gonna come back here and listen.
Her virtual sessions.
Her hand gonna come back Cobra-less.
Yes.
Or somebody that already has prosthetics.
Gotcha.
Prosthetics, yeah, exactly.
Surprise!
Oh my.
But that does raise a question. Would you be able to quell his thirst if folks just 3D printed hands? Then would everybody be safe?
No. I think no.
You still gotta play the role and be like, ah! And then it's just a 3D one, and you give it to him.
or if you gave Kira, listen, if you gave Yoshikage Kira fake hands as a placebo, don't tell him it's fake hands, but then just kind of have like a new hand at his front doorstep or something.
You're going to lie to somebody who has unchecked power.
He's gonna pick it up and smell it a little. This
smells like that.
I know he's gonna throw it at you.
It smells like rubber.
Yeah, this smells like a nail salon.
You gotta make it authentic. Make it authentic. Boom! It's a win-win.
I also think it's a little bit of the thrill of the hunt, if you will. So I don't think if he was getting that thrill of cutting off the hands, it would be as good for him. So dropping a hand at the front of his door, like, I don't know, a weird cat or something, I don't think that would work out.
Not the cat. Meow. Oh, gosh.
Well, I'm going
Okay.
with L from Death Note
L or
because
Light?
What do you mean?
No,
Yeah, why
you
you
said
always in my head?
Light. L and Light are different people.
but Light
Yes.
is the good guy, right?
You do your person.
Light is the
No.
protagonist.
No.
Light
Light
is
is the
bad too.
protagonist, but he's not a
No.
good guy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yes, he is the main character. He is not
He's the one
necessarily
that
a
does
good
the
person.
writing.
Yeah, he's got the
Okay.
book.
I would live in his world. Yep, absolutely. Because I don't have
Cool.
to know him or be mean to him.
Yeah,
But
but the
hopefully
danger
He
of
wouldn't know me
him-
because you never know when he gets upset and just decides to write about you.
So you're saying there are no people close to you that may get in trouble for something. He sees them on the news and then write their name in a book, and now all of a sudden your loved one's dead.
You sneak into a club. You pirate a movie.
Honestly,
Boom.
though, if you did something, if you did
What if
something
he asked for
bad
your number
enough-
and you said no, and then he wrote you down in a book?
Exactly. You the one talking
Remember
about you
this.
want to live in his world.
I
People like,
just,
dang, she's fine. Can I get at you? No,
Can I get your number?
away from me.
Can I get your number?
Yep, then it's raps.
I got something for
He
you.
goes home and it's like,
Yeah.
it's a whole another level of incels that I just don't want to
So-
deal with.
He could be Drake's
I-
ghostwriter.
Huh?
He could be Drake's ghostwriter for all you know, and everybody gone.
Yeah, everybody
Oh.
drinks.
Oh.
You've been
Yeah.
embodied by a singing.
Right. All the Aines,
Quick question,
Irene,
quick question.
Sardine,
So,
Nadine, all of them
here's
that he
why-
talks about.
I'm dead.
Orleans,
Here's
yeah.
why I
Quick-
don't
so
think...
quick question for Death Note. I don't remember it 100%. Would he just know people's names, or would he have to get that
No,
information?
he had to
No.
get the information. So usually it would be like he saw a news. He started off with like, oh, he'd see a news report about somebody who had done something and start writing their names. Now you can ask for things from the Shinigami, so you can see like people's lives. You can see some information about people. So as it went on, he started trading some of his soul to be able to like see things about people. But at the beginning, he had to have some type of way to reference to like find their names. You couldn't just
I
be
think
like,
okay.
I know
if-
who she
'Cause
is.
if-
Yeah.
If you get
'Cause
the
if I
power
could-
to see the names, you only have half a lifespan.
Yeah.
But that might be part of this
Mm.
ideal world of Loa where,
You
Light
don't
gets to
know
have
my
it his way. He
name.
might get the
Yeah.
eyes.
But here's the thing.
He might make
But-
that deal.
But here's the thing. Light's a strategic person. He wouldn't do that. He would have somebody else do that.
Right. That's his thing.
Oh,
yeah.
He'd have
Then I
he'd
couldn't have any
another
friends.
In a,
Like
in a,
Asa.
right. In a
Misa
world
part two.
where Light wins and he's in control, Light wouldn't be the only threat. He would be the leader of the threat. But you
Right.
you would have to think about living in a world under global fascism. Because think about it. He said he wanted to create a new world that was order, and he was going to be the one to bring in this world of order, which means that everybody will work under him. All your governments will work under him. All your grocery stores have to work under him. The second there's a tiny piece of dissent, you'll get criminalized for it. Your name go into the books. You on the record. He kill you. You could be on
Sounds
the
like
other side of the
working
planet.
for this guy that makes cars.
Yeah, just
Ooh.
just like him. Just like him.
Not Marty over there shouting like that. She said,
No, but for real though,
Some
Would you
people
wanna-
are
would
already
you
That's
like-
the
living
world
this
you
life,
chose.
so hey.
That's the world you chose.
Yeah, Loa-
Some
Loa,
people
you
already
literally
living that
chose
life,
this
so I
world.
mean, no.
Now
So
here's the other
if I
thing. Light can give away pieces of his death note to other people, and it still works the same as if it was in his hand.
Right.
So it might not even be him that meets you and have a problem with you. It might be, his homeboy that's like, I remember you.
Right. Yeah. Somebody might be
see
in
you.
town. They see you at a game somewhere, and so you have never interacted with Light specifically. You just met up with one of his homies.
Man, look.
Next
so
thing
it
you know,
sounds
you
to- it
having a heart
sounds-
attack.
I got a
Yeah,
counter.
Sounds to me.
I got a
Sounds to me
counter
that
stance,
the best way to make it out of this life, right? If Light was good, I mean not good. If Light succeeded, then I feel like the best way to live is one, have a moniker, and two,
Live in a
be
tiny house
nice with
off the
everybody.
grid.
Be nice to everybody.
Be nice
don't
to everybody.
don't get beef with nobody.
Oh,
Don't get beef with
no,
nobody.
I'm sorry.
He said lift the little bro.
I'm sorry.
Actually, no. I got a cheat code. One of the easiest ways to survive in a world where Light Yagami wins is to stumble upon your own Death Note, which that's not easy, but I would think that's the most effective solution because Death Note users can't kill other Death Note users. That's the only way.
So where would you get a Death Note from?
Your best friend,
That's-
Light.
That's not true.
Just in a
Your
river.
best friend,
Death
light.
Note users can definitely kill other Death Note users.
I don't think they
no,
can.
I
I
don't
think they
think
have
they
to
can.
relinquish the right, because I think that's how Light got around it a couple
Ah.
times. He convinced somebody to like relinquish their right to the Death Note temporarily and then kill them. Like
Mhm.
I don't think you can kill them if you're an active owner of a Death Note.
Yeah.
If I'm
Well,
remembering correctly.
it looks like I would be Light's best friend,
Mm,
girlfriend,
same.
whatever I got to do,
Now
so I
you
can
still
get
not
me, so I
saying-
can get me some death
No,
paper.
Light's
So I can get some
girlfriend
death
didn't make
paper.
it either, so
Yeah, I
Dang.
don't want to do that. I
don't know if that's the route you want to take.
Hmm.
Oh, well, that's the world you chose to live in. All right, T, you next.
Ah.
I was actually gonna use Light Yagami, so that one got stolen from me. So y'all gonna come back to me. I gotta find another villain.
Dang.
All right, Tally, we'll jump to you then.
Okay, so first off, I'm gonna choose Aizen. Totally fine with Aizen. Why would I care about a spirit killing other spirits that I don't perceive? He just didn't want to. He just wanted to get rid of the Soul Society. That had nothing to do with Earth. I mean,
Earth
yeah,
is about
sure,
to
he
get
was going
spooky.
to collect a bunch of souls from one town that I'd never heard of, but you know, I don't really have
Okay.
anything to do with that.
But if we're thinking about the fact that the Soul Society is what kept the why am I forgetting the name?
bad
The
ones.
spirits, the spirits that like appeared on Earth in check, then
Yes, those
without the
things are
Soul
just-
Reapers, those things are just wandering unchecked. And if you're the unfortunate human that I mean, you got the Quincy, I suppose. So
Right.
there are other entities that can take care of them, but I think the argument is that the Soul Reapers were kind of like the main ones doing that job.
That is a good argument, except
Yeah.
for Aizen took over command of them. He took over command of the Hollows.
So he's just gonna have them running
So he would
free.
keep them in check.
And
Why would he do that though?
But
He was plan
this
wasn't
is a
to
good
free
argument.
Hollow. He was just experimenting them and using them as weapons. But he has control over them. I don't think like Okiura was not stronger than Aizen when he if Aizen would have unfolded, there wouldn't be a being stronger than him.
I
So
agree.
like
honestly, I think
the
Ichigo
Hollows
won
wouldn't
that
be a
fight because of
problem.
plot. So that is
right.
true.
So like we
Oh.
don't. There was not really enough evidence to know what Aizen would have done if he
Aizen
would
is
have won
one
necessarily.
sneaky- I
But
would
it was
say-
all just to serve his
Yeah.
purpose of destroying the Soul Society. Now, if you think that him destroying the Soul Society is inevitably going to lead to him losing control of the Hollows, and they just usurp
I don't
the world,
even necessarily think that. I think that Aizen just wouldn't care enough to check hollows. So, like, if some did go on a rampage, or if he did need to test for any other experiments, or he wanted to, like, create better weapons or create something that he needed to experiment on, he doesn't care about humans to not do that. And so you're living in a society where basically at any point, if Aizen did need to use those hollows or use human lives as an expense, he would. There's no moral compass that Aizen has that'd be like, nah, let me not do that to the people.
yeah, I don't know
Word.
if I
Do
can
you-
trust my life in Aizen's hands as being the
But
most
I will
powerful
argue
being.
what
it's the most ambiguous as to what would happen to humans if he did win. Like, there's
what
no
did
set.
he?
Like,
Why
yeah.
did he defect from the Soul Society? I don't remember. Like, what
He,
made him go against them?
Ooh, there's a bunch of stuff, and some of it came out in a novel. I'm trying to remember all the bits and pieces, but basically, he thought that the Soul Society was corrupt, which it kind of is. It like very much is. But I don't remember exactly what about it was so corrupt that he felt the need to defect. But I do know that that was like ultimately his reason was that the Soul Society was corrupt.
Right. Word. Well, that's that's why I'm just like, because it was left so ambiguous about
Yeah.
What his intentions were for the real world. It seemed like a good one
Yeah.
to choose.
I have an
Alright.
interesting one,
Yeah.
and I guess
Okay.
this resides on the side of philosophy. But this is
It's
broad
giving
enough.
Gucci.
No, any Shin Megami Tensei alignment that leaves the world in a state where humans and demons coexist on the same plane. Permanently.
Interesting. Yeah.
Would you like to be in a world like that? Mind
No.
you, in the context of this, demons can include supernatural creatures of every mythology. So
Right.
Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Japanese mythology, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Indigenous mythology, they would all exist, good and bad. Would you like to exist in a world like that?
This
You
is
could
your
only-
argument. This is the
Yeah,
world you
now
are
you-
choosing. So would
Because
you?
only-
Wait, which
As of
franchise
now,
did you
I
say
would
this
only
is?
sign with that Huh?
Shin Megami Tensei alignments
Like the
that leave the
greater
world in that
SMT.
state. Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
As of now, I would only be down with that if my boy Jack Frost and Banya's there. Other
Jack
than that,
Jack Frost is gonna kill you.
Be there. Yeah, I was
Jack
like, Jack
Frost
Frost
is
is
gonna-
not a nice demon. He's a tricky one. Yeah.
He's
so
gonna-
has he killed someone before?
He's going
though? I
to
feel like
steal
he
your
just trolls.
shoes. He's gonna steal your shoes, tie you up on something, then freeze you, and call it a day.
Yeah,
What
I'm
show
gonna.
is this?
I'm gonna
Because I
say
might wanna watch
no.
this.
I'm gonna say
Wait.
no. It's a video game.
Game.
But I'm
Oh.
definitely gonna say no because humans are usually almost eradicated in every SMT game. It's not-
It's true, yeah. It does not tend to go
Nah,
well
there's
for the
no-
humans in
That
this
too.
scenario.
Yeah. They're always
But-
stuck between. They're always basically stuck in purgatory, waiting for somebody to become God.
Yeah.
So
Not only
forget
that, but humans are squishy. And demons are decidedly not squishy. So
But in
Squishy.
SMT, you can just because you die as a human does not mean that you no longer exist.
Drew, I ain't trying to be no orb. Yeah, I ain't trying to be no floating orb. I ain't trying to whisper around like, hey,
real,
dude.
what did I
Well, do
look
you get to
like?
turn
What
into
did
a
I look
demon?
Look like?
If I die, if my human form dies, do I become a demon now? And now I'm on the other side of life.
Nah, you just a spirit. You just
How does
waiting
that
for
work?
somebody to eat you. Really, it
Do
just
demons
works.
have
Use
beef
you.
with
Because then, I
spirits?
mean,
It
I
just
get
do.
I get 2 lives. I don't know.
There's
That might not be
demons-
that
Not
bad.
really,
Demons
but
have-
you don't get to. You don't get to. You don't have no sense. You don't have no sense. you don't
yeah,
have
you're
taste,
just kind of
touch,
like a
You
thing.
just exist.
So
Yeah.
do demons have beef with spirits?
They don't have beef. It's just like imagine the animal kingdom, but times 10.
Yeah. Like, yeah, there's no
okay.
beef. You're too insignificant to have beef with. You're just a
Yeah.
sustenance for
You're
them
just
at that
yeah.
point. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you do anything as a spirit, or are you literally just
No.
You can
floating?
float.
You could
Nah,
float.
fam.
That's it.
Yeah.
You might be
Float?
chill.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
You
Nah.
can annoy
Right.
people.
I thought
You
I
can
get
find-
to turn
you
into
can-
a bad guy.
You,
No,
you can,
you're you're
you might be able
phasmophobia
to.
at that point. You could
Yeah.
throw plates if you want
yeah,
to.
you are phasmophobia at that.
Yeah.
But arguably, you might be reincarnated as one of those demons. That's happened to a few characters in the SMT franchise, albeit they've been core characters in the world, in the story. But there are
Yeah.
people who have a chance of coming back as a certain demon, as a certain creature. Now,
that's
But it
like
isn't
I
I
don't
feel
know
like
what's
Mars would
guaranteed. I don't know
definitely
what's
come back
guaranteed.
as a demon.
It's not like you
I'd be
gonna.
okay with that.
It's
as
not
long
like
as
you
I'm not a
gonna come
spirit.
back as Lucifer or nothing. You might come back as, I don't know, some folklore cricket, but you gonna come back.
Bruh. I ain't trying to come back as Jiminy Cricket. I'm good.
All you can do is
Yeah.
rub your feet together.
Listen,
Right. This seems like a terrible world to live in. Not
Well,
only
it
would I
seems like
probably
there's
die
options,
instantly.
though. You know.
it
The
sounds like
options
a
are
cool.
all bad.
I
It
think
sounds like a cool
I think
world.
it's
Just a
survivable.
world. It sounds like a cool world, just not a world that I'll be in. And for that
Yeah.
reason, I'm out.
Yeah, and
For
for
that
that
reason,
reason, I'm out. Yeah. No, because I'm just imagining if all of us got reincarnated into this world, the chance that even one of us is a substantial enough member of society where we either get reincarnated as a demon, we discover some magical power we have to control the demons or to make a pact with the demon, or we just somehow are chill and vibing with demons, is pretty low. Like maybe one of us survive, but there's a good chance we all did. Just saying.
That is a fact.
Well,
It's a fact. All right, Kogra, who you got?
Ooh, let's see. So I'm actually gonna bring us back to Death Note because the villain that I chose is L, and the reason I can consider him a villain in this series is because the main character, the person we are following, is Light. So
Wait, real quick. What do you mean you're choosing the villain?
L's an antagonist, not a villain.
We're choosing just like the end game, like
Yeah,
the
the
world
end
to
game
live
world.
in.
So you're saying
Yes.
the world if L wins, which I guess
Wins.
kind of
which means L will take out Light.
So, in a world where L wins, L would at some point have found out and been able to expose everything around Light having a death note. So, not only does that just eradicate the problem, but that also gives everybody else in the world information that these things are floating around and out and about, which gives us the ability to continue to fight it and go forward against people with death notes. But if L doesn't like get a chance to out the fact that Death Note users are out there, then people think, oh, it was just this guy he's dead now, so it's done.
I think it's interesting that you think in a world where people discover that there's a book that you can write people's names in, they continue to fight against it, and that people with a certain social standard don't all collect these books and use them for themselves. Because that's what I think in this current day in the United States of America, rich people would have them books. People in power would have them books and be taking out people.
I can just see it right now.
I don't doubt that people in power would try, but I mean, people in power would do that whether or not the news was out there about whether or not they existed. I mean, people in power use lots of things against us, whether or not we know it exists. But if civilians know about it, that gives us the ability to push back. If we're just operating and nobody knows why, but people are dying at the flick of a pen, then you can't really do nothing about it.
But L's a very strategic guy. I don't think L
Someone can find. Hey, if you find a death note, burn them as a public service announcement, rather than nobody knows about death notes except for the couple of people that do, and they're selling them in the black market to the highest bidder. So now you got this whole society of underground people that have these death notes.
I don't think L would let information reach the general public that a death note exists. L's a very strategic guy. I think he would keep that under wraps, and there would probably just be private units across the globe that will try to find death note users and shut them down. But I think the moment it becomes general knowledge, it spirals out of control, because even in the canon ending, there are already folks who become aware of the fact that there is this book that kills people, and as long as you have paper from that book, you can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just don't think, I don't live with the thought that humans are inherently good. I think humans are inherently bad. And if there are no moral consequences for them in their actions, they will choose to do, not every human, of course, but as a general statement, there are humans who will take advantage of that. And so I think it's very nice to think that if someone found a death note, they would burn it. But I think it's more likely that they would either sell it or use it for themselves. Maybe they burn it after they use a couple pages. They're like, let me get rid of Jimmy and my boss, Rick, and this person. All right, now we can burn the book.
Let me tell you a secret.
So you're an SMT law person. You're an SMT law type of person.
If I come across a death note,
I'm not, but I recognize that. See,
you never know what
y'all hear Lauren said
right
she would keep a death note.
Yeah, I'm not
I
burning no
think
death
it's
note.
interesting how many people you think on this planet are like Light Yagami. Oh my gosh. Because watching Light, I was like, Light is a sick little kid, But it seems like to you feel like there are more Light Yagamis.
I think there's more lights than
I don't think that it's the fact that there's a lot of Light Yagamis. Yeah. I don't think that. I just think that there are people. Now, Light's intelligence was an anomaly. Absolutely.
Right. He also had a God complex, which I don't think everyone necessarily gets to the level of Light, because Light already thought he was better, and then there was something that put in his hands that allowed him to act on that.
But I think
he's a little extra level.
To actively be killing people and be in control of saying when it's someone's time to go, what that's going to look like, you have to have a God complex. No one's going to use a death note and not have a God complex.
I think
if you use a death note, if you use a death note and don't feel sick and start throwing up after, then you are sick. You have a problem.
Okay, no, I wouldn't just be using a death
note. The death penalty.
I wouldn't use
the death penalty.
Murdering people like it's nothing.
I would not use it, but I would not let someone have a one up on me. That is why I would have my little piece of paper still around. Because I'm gonna get to you before you get to me. And if I catch wind that you're trying to find a piece of paper to get to me, and I already have a death note, guess who's not leaving?
Guess who ain't gonna make it around? I'm just saying, I think it's also easy to disassociate. And that doesn't take a God complex. When we see even current day, there's a lot of murder that happens that goes on constantly, that we're constantly peppered with, especially with our access to social media. And so I think it is very easy to disassociate when you either don't know that person personally, or you don't know them well enough and you're not seeing them die, right? Like, you're not over there in the corner writing their name and watching them pass out and die. A lot of times you're writing a name and you probably are not making sure that something happened. You just know it is, because that's the nature of death note.
Later.
And so I do think it's very easy for humans to disassociate from the fact that they are the ones doing the murdering, especially when it's not direct. Like, they're not shooting a gun. They're not watching the impact of that person dying.
Yep, they're like,
writing something down.
Right.
See ya.
Yeah.
Think about all the weirdos.
That would be my life in the world of L.
Also, I just want to clarify. L is not a villain. He's an antagonist.
Yeah, I do. Yes, I would argue that L is not the villain. But for the sake of this argument, I think it still opened up an interesting conversation. So I'll allow it.
There's a protagonist.
Yeah, I guess I'm next. I was torn between a couple of people, but I'm actually going to go with Vaughn from Tales of the Abyss. So
Vaughn.
For the people who, or I think his name is actually pronounced Van in this game, but it's spelled Vaughn. Anyway, so for the people who play Tales of the Abyss, basically this guy, because of something terrible that happened in his homeland, wants to create clones of everyone and then eradicate the originals. So basically, these clones would all believe this like scripture that is created by the church. They would all live in unison and in line with one another. They're not quite a hive mind, but they would be so morally bound to this scripture that they couldn't deviate from it. So you have this sense of I guess good that is happening because you physically are forced to obey these laws. And then your original version would be gone. But technically, you wouldn't know that. You'd be like Luke, the main character of Abyss, and just think you got amnesia and you don't remember your childhood. You wouldn't know that there was a you that was eradicated. So I think as far as villains winning and there not being any consequences, and as far as you would know, the world is kind of a better place because no one really commits crimes anymore. No one really has to go into jail because they are following this very strict set of rules that no one can really deviate from. So
that was a good one.
So you'd be okay with Madara?
No.
What?
This is
What?
Because with Madara, you are still like you have to remember the things that Madara has done. So you have to remember the people that he murdered and everything. And in this reality, you are a clone that doesn't remember anything that happened before. You don't remember that your real mom and dad were blown to smithereens. You don't remember that your best friend got blown up. You just all start out at this point. You're 25, and for some reason you just can't remember what happened from 24 and younger.
Well, sounds peaceful to me. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Isn't that what they say?
Oh, no.
Hey,
Question.
you know?
Question.
Yes.
Would we exist in this world as the replicas or as the originals? Because if we exist in this world as the originals, absolutely not.
In my head, so I guess I think you're the replica at this point. Because that's the only way you exist. Otherwise, you would be blown up. You're the replica of yourself.
Yeah.
That still sucks.
Tyrone, you just good.
That sucks.
Yeah,
but
you're Tyrone.
How do you know it sucks? You don't even know it sucks.
Well,
it's not like you
guess.
remember anything that happened
you don't
before.
remember it even sucks. Yeah.
It's a wonderful life.
It sounds like
It just feels
It
like
sounds better than living with light.
It just feels like a cop out. Like, of
It
course,
feels-
if you
feels
just
like a-
living
yeah.
like a regular life.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
any world, you know.
Mhm.
If you just follow the rules, you'll be okay.
And then guess what? If you don't follow the rules, they get rid of you and a new you comes, so you don't even know.
Yeah. Well, in this case, again,
this
you're
really is they
like
clone
you're
Tyrone.
magically bound. This is like they clone Tyrone before they clone Tyrone. But again, you are magically bound by a scripture. You can't even like do something that would be bad for you to be like erased and replaced with another clone. You literally cannot.
So
I
if
don't
you
know
somehow,
if I want to live
if you
in a
somehow
place where my
glitch and
freedom
deviate,
to act and behave how I want is put into question. Like I just physically can't even do it.
Yeah.
Like
you,
I
you
just
can't
can't.
even
Where
think
is-
about
where
it.
is-
You know,
where
like I
is
want
my
to eat
amendment?
this, but
Yeah.
you just
Where is
can't.
my
Yeah,
First
my
Amendment?
script says I can't have this burger.
You have
but it
no
looks
First
so good.
Amendment.
Like I'm not doing it.
You
I'm
could
not
never
doing
have
it.
even be
fries.
Burgers
torn.
don't even.
I need to
Cobra
be able to
would
eat
never
what I
have
want to
fries.
eat. I need to
Right.
turn
You wouldn't
up
be
how I
torn.
want to turn up. Like I'm not doing it.
But you wouldn't even
You
know
would
that you want to
never be
turn up that
frustrated.
way because like the turn up wouldn't exist because the scripture does not say you can twerk. So you wouldn't even know a twerk is a thing.
You won't be able to twerk or eat French fries, Kogra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or dance. There's no
Yeah,
dancing in the
I'm
scripture. I
out of
actually
that
don't know
one.
what's in the
I'm out.
everything
I
that's in the
can't
scripture.
do that.
Yeah, I'm
That's
out.
the reason I'm out.
It sounds a little too good. It sounds like from Persona 5 when
Mhm.
old boy made the whole
That was
world
gonna be my other. I was between those two because they both have kind of like similar outcomes where you're kind of forced into a world of peace.
yeah.
But I mean, hey, I'm just saying, if we had to choose a world where the villain wins, this seems like the most peaceful one. I'm not saying I want that, but if that was the option presented to me or death, I guess I'm choosing that.
I
I
can feel
couldn't
it.
be in that world.
Yeah.
I'd be
Couldn't
there.
do that.
I would.
See,
If-
I got
I'd
one
be
plus
there.
one.
Me,
Could we
I
still
got
Signs
play
up.
video games in this world?
If it's written
I
in
don't know
your
if it's in the
scripture,
scripture. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have to
Nah.
evaluate the scripture.
It's not up to you. You get no say. Like,
no free will.
Nah.
That's
But
why I can't
again,
be there.
if it wasn't in the scripture, you wouldn't know video games exist, and they wouldn't exist anymore. So you
But-
wouldn't miss out on it.
I'm gonna do my
Listen,
own thing.
some people, some people do live by the thought that everything is predetermined anyway. So, what's the difference?
Hey,
This is just it. Now it really is
Yeah.
predetermined.
It really is.
It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
People that believe that still have some sort of say in what they get to partake in and what they're interested in and stuff
That's
like
true.
that. In this world, you don't have that freedom.
That is
But
very
how
true.
will you know?
It's a cult.
What
it's
if
a cult.
what if they were determined to have those interests? Like what if it was fate
You'd
for
probably
them to
just
have
glitch
those
out
interests?
or
That
something.
is true because the people who are clones that have been they do still have like interests and stuff like that. It's just those interests have been kind of programmed in a way, so none of them are going to be ones that are inherently like bad or could lead to you doing something bad or corrupt. But they do still have like personalities and stuff like that. So there is
Burly.
some. It's not like your
Personalities
Burly.
within this box.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. Personality on a sliding scale, but you technically still have a personality. And for as much as you know, you're your own person, you know? So,
Yeah, just like now.
yeah. How do you know
Okay.
we're not already written into a scripture?
Facts.
Right. Well,
this is all a simulation.
after
But yeah,
that
we're all in
theological
squares as we speak.
dissertation, let's go ahead and move on.
amazing. So good to know you all have terrible choices in what villain worlds you live in, except for me. But that's cool. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. As per the usual, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what villain world you would want to live in. You'd be okay with if the villain won, and which one's an absolutely not. Like, you would just under no circumstances you would jump off a bridge. Like, that's not what you're doing. So let us know in the comments. Hit us up on our Discord. But we will talk to y'all later.